So I'm sure you've noticed that 2021 has been off to an insane start when it comes to sneaker releases. And I've got to tell you, the second half of January 2021 is just as crazy. In fact, maybe even a little bit crazier. What's up everybody? I'm Seth Fowler and this is Sit or Sell. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell down below. If you didn't do it in 2020, make sure to do it in 2021. And also make sure to give me a follow on Instagram and on Twitter at @RealSethFowler. So today I kind of wanted to start off the video a little bit differently than usual. And the reason for that is because someone actually sent me a Reddit post where people were talking about my Nike Air Yeezy 1 Zens and calling them fake. And I think for sneaker collectors, being called out for having fake sneakers usually kind of sucks. And so I decided, you know what? Let's prove the haters wrong. So I teamed up with the CheckCheck App, who are sponsoring today's video, to legit check this pair of Nike Air Yeezy 1s. If you're not familiar with the CheckCheck app, it's a great way to legit check all the sneakers in your collection. Basically, the way that the app works is you select the sneaker brand that you're legit checking and of course also the sneaker model. Then the app prompts you to take very detailed pictures of different parts of the shoe, like the size tag, the stitching inside the insole, the bottom of the insole, all that good stuff that the app needs to verify that your shoes are in fact authentic or to let you know that they're actually fake. Then what you do is you send your pictures of the shoes and the box and whatever notes you might have off to the app and they legit check them for you. And the best part is that you can actually have results within 30 minutes. Now the way that CheckCheck actually goes about checking your sneakers is first uploading those images to an AI processor, which double checks all the images just to make sure there's nothing fishy about them. Then your sneakers are checked over by two separate real people. That's why it's called the CheckCheck app, because it's checked twice. Then once that's done, the app gets back to you with the verdict on whether your sneaker passes or fails. And oh, look at that, my shoes came back authentic. Who would have guessed? I mean, I would have. I spent a lot of money on them. I'd hope they'd be authentic. Not only that, but if you're also interested in checking out all of the other sneakers legit checked by the CheckCheck app, you can click on the Explore tab, which shows you all the recent checks. In fact, right now I can actually scroll down on the Explore tab and find my shoe because it was just checked. So if you would like to check out the CheckCheck app for yourself, make sure to click the link in the description below and use my code SETHFOWLER for one free legit check. Not only that, but CheckCheck is also giving away one free year of legit checks or $500 in sneaker cash. All you need to do to enter is download the app through the link in the description below, sign up and register, then use my code SETHFOWLER for that one free legit check, and then comment done down below. Once again, huge thank you to the CheckCheck app for sponsoring today's video, but with all of that out of the way, let's jump right back into Sit or Sell. So if you're not familiar with how Sit or Sell works, basically what happens is I take a look at all of the sneaker releases for the first half or second half of any given month. I let you guys know what I think about each one of these notable releases, and I let you know whether I think each shoe will sit on shelves or sell out. And that's pretty much all there is to it, so let's just jump right into it. On January 16th, the first shoe to drop is the Air Jordan 13 Starfish. People have been talking about this shoe for months now. In fact, I've been watching some other YouTubers and they've had pairs for almost a month at this point. So I think it's fair to say that there's not too much more to learn about this shoe. However, I do think it's a good looking colorway. The Air Jordan 13 Starfish comes with a white quilted leather upper accented by sort of bright orange suede along the midfoot and on the heel of the sneaker. You've got that classic green holographic gem towards the heel of the lateral side, and the overall look is rounded off by a black outsole. I'm not exactly sure why now Jordan Brand has decided to go for sort of a shattered backboard theme in some of their more recent releases, but I'm not against it, and I think that orange on this shoe actually looks pretty clean. As far as availability, I think this sneaker is going to be somewhat limited, but not really difficult to find. In fact, I think you could probably walk into Foot Locker on the day of release and be able to pick up a pair. That said, most Air Jordan retros over the last 2 years have sold out, and I think because this is a popular silhouette, the Air Jordan 13, and a pretty clean colorway, this shoe will definitely sell out. After that, we've got the Adidas Yeezy 380 Reflective Yeezy. I have no idea if that's how you're supposed to pronounce the shoe, but I'm gonna call it that because I don't know any better. So apparently this release is an Asia exclusive and will only be dropping through Yeezy Supply, Adidas, and SNS. The shoe comes with a bright white prime knit upper that's accented by reflective hits. You've also got sort of a washed out orange detail on the lateral side, and moving down on the shoe, you've got sort of a creamy tan midsole and a light orange outsole. The colorway of this Yeezy 380 is pretty alright. It's not something I would rush out to the store to buy, but it's definitely one of the better Yeezy 380 colorways to drop in a minute. However, unfortunately, like I said, this shoe will be an Asia exclusive, so if you're trying to grab a pair of these and you don't live in Asia, you're probably gonna have to pay resale. Even though not every Yeezy 380 colorway has sold out over the last couple months, I think because this shoe is a little bit more limited than some of the other 380s, and because I think there's gonna be a lot of people in the US who want this pair just because it's an exclusive, I think this shoe will definitely sell out. Then moving on to January 20th, we've got a brand new model from Adidas, the 4D Fusio. And not only does the Fusio feature a brand new 4D midsole, it also features a brand new lacing system as well. The upper of the shoe seems pretty similar to an NMD and comes in prime knit. However, on the sides of the upper, you've actually got these TPU panels that house a lacing system. I have no idea how this lacing is going to work or if it's going to work, but I'm assuming because it's a sports-focused shoe, they've probably put a lot of R&D into it, so I'm sure it feels fine on foot. Just below the upper, you've got sort of a TPU skirt that covers up some of the 4D midsole, and I'm assuming it's there for stability. What's interesting to me about this shoe is how thin the 4D midsole looks on this sneaker. Now, I don't know if all of the 4D is covered up by that sort of skirt thing, or maybe it's just that little thin strip of 4D that you can see in the picture, but either way, I'm actually interested to try this shoe out. Also, I gotta say, the colorway is kind of dope. It comes in black, pink, orange, and white, and is not something I have a lot of in my collection. But as far as how well this sneaker will do when it comes to sales, I really have no idea because it's a brand new silhouette and 4D doesn't seem that hot right now, so I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that even though this is a cool looking sneaker, I don't think it's gonna sell out. Continuing on to January 22nd, we've got the Nike Zoom Freak 2 Letter Bro. So apparently the reason this shoe is called the Letter Bro is because in China, people actually call Giannis Antetokounmpo the Letter Bro because of how many letters are in his last name. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it's a pretty funny inspiration for a shoe, and it makes sense as to why they have all those letters on the heel of the sneaker. A majority of the upper of the sneaker comes in a light tan or light gray color, accented by a bright red Nike swoosh and some light blues around the lettering and on the forefoot of the sneaker. It's really not a bad looking sneaker, and while I don't think it's gonna win Sneaker of the Year, I do think it's gonna be a pretty popular shoe. But at the end of the day, it is still probably a GR Zoom Freak 2 release, and for that reason, I think it's gonna sit. Next up is the Nike Air Max 1 LV8 Obsidian. This shoe comes in a variation of the classic Air Max 1 color blocking and also in some slightly more premium materials. Like the original sneaker, the top half of the upper comes with white meshes and gray nubucks, but as you move down on the upper, things change up to more of a darker obsidian colored leather. One of my favorite details of the shoe is the white mini Nike swoosh towards the forefoot of the sneaker. I don't know why I like those details so much, but it's those mini Nike swooshes, man. I'm a sucker for them. The rest of the shoe comes with the standard Air Max 1 tooling. You've got a white midsole and an obsidian colored outsole, and that's pretty much all there is to it. I do have to say though that this shoe and this colorway looks hot. Unfortunately though, like some of the other premium Air Max 1 releases that Nike's been dropping recently, this shoe will probably be limited and relatively difficult to get. And obviously that means that this shoe will most likely sell out. Next up is the Jordan Delta Mid in Storm Blue. As you probably could have guessed, this is just a standard Jordan Delta Mid in Storm Blue. The shoe comes with a black and blue paneled upper. Of course, it's the mid-top version, which we saw most recently on the Union LAs, I think. And just like with that collaboration, the tongue on this sneaker features exposed foam around the edges. I feel like this shoe was heavily inspired by Off-White, which would make sense because it's a very popular collaboration and they're all Nike sneakers, so it's not like Nike is really stealing anything. The midsole of the shoe is full-length React, which feels just incredible underfoot, and it comes in sort of a light cream color. And then the overall look is rounded off by gum-colored rubber on the outsole. I'm actually not 100% sure what this shoe is going to do. I think it's possible that it could sell out and then resell for nothing. I also think it's very possible that it might not sell out and just be very widely available. Realistically, what I think will happen is that it'll sell out on the sneakers app and then be on sale in Foot Lockers in like a month. So we'll just have to wait and see. But I guess for the purposes of this video, because I have to give it sort of a definitive answer, I'll give this shoe a sit. Also on January 22nd, we've got the women's Air Jordan 4 Starfish. This Jordan 4 is apparently inspired by space suits and space flight, which I kind of feel like is a little bit of a stretch. The upper of the shoe is covered in black mesh, which has some starfish orange details around the edges of the paneling. And again, it really just feels like this shoe is much more of a shattered backboard style sneaker than a spacesuit style sneaker. I mean, I know it's obvious, but I feel like this shoe would have looked a lot more spacey if it had had some sort of metallic silver on the upper. And I think it might have even looked better. I don't know, it's just my opinion, and also another reason why I'm not a Jordan brand designer, because I'm not as good as they are. It's not a bad shoe, it's just not for me. And I think there probably are some women out there who really love this colorway. And because of that, I think this shoe will probably sell out. And then finally, finishing off the releases for January 22nd, we've got the Nike SB Dunk Low Pro Street Hawker. This shoe comes in a crazy, colorful, mismatched upper that features different kinds of materials and different kinds of prints. And the inspiration behind this design is Chinese food culture, and you can actually see that throughout the sneaker on the different panels of the shoe. Each watercolor accent or pressed material is designed to look specifically like a Chinese food or have something to do with Chinese food culture. And because of that, it comes in a very warm and colorful look, which I'm really into. In fact, I'd even call it but delicious. One of the things that I love about the Street Hawkers is that both sides of the pair are unique and different from each other. One side features warmer oranges and reds and a black tongue, and the other side features lighter colored blues, yellows, and greens, and a white tongue. And even though both shoes feature different colors on the upper, they still go together really nicely. The Nike SB Dunk Low Pro Street Hawker is an awesome sneaker and one that I'm definitely going for. And of course, just like every other Nike SB Dunk that's dropped over the last 2 years, this shoe will definitely sell out, and because of its awesome colorway, will probably resell for a lot. Then moving on to January 23rd, we've got the Air Jordan 5 Low Chinese New Year. So at first glance, the shoe looks like a pretty clean but still pretty simple looking Air Jordan 5 Low. The upper of the shoe comes in a sail colored canvas material accented by red hits along the lace eyelets, sock liner, and also the shark teeth. And in addition to that, you've got a slightly darker shade of sail on the midsole and a semi-translucent outsole. But in a detail that you might not expect, the upper of this shoe actually wears away to reveal a Chinese inspired print. Now the fact that the upper of this shoe can be cut off or worn away to reveal another design detail underneath is not new. Nike's been doing it for years now on Travis Scott, and I think also the Chinese New Year Air Jordan 12s. Not only that, Reebok just did it on a pair of Halloween Iversons. But even though wear away uppers aren't as new and exciting as they used to be, it's still a nice touch and it's still going to give the shoe a second life. I gotta say though, I think I prefer the way that the sneaker looks with the cream colored upper than with the crazy multicolor upper. Nothing against that look, but I just think a cream and red Air Jordan 5 Low looks really solid. To be fair though, it does actually take a lot of effort to wear down the material on the upper, and if you really want to get rid of it, you have to cut it off, so it's not going to come off very easily, but it's still something I wish was just a cream colored leather instead. Regardless, the tearaway upper will be a selling point for most people, and I think it's a good looking shoe, so I definitely think that this shoe will sell out. Also dropping on January 23rd, we've got the Adidas Yeezy 700 V1 in the Sun colorway. Now this shoe is interesting because it looks like a Wave Runner 700, but it's been dipped in like yellow and orange paint. There's actually a lot of details on this shoe that seem to be carried over from the Wave Runner, like the green accents on the toe, and of course those 3M orange ovals on the midsole. But other than that, the gray panels of the upper seem to have been turned yellow, and the white panels have been turned orange. I'm not sure exactly why they decided to do this. I think people would have preferred like a restock of the Wave Runner, or maybe just a different color that kind of resembles the Wave Runner but doesn't look like a weird amalgamation of the Wave Runner and yellow. But hey, you know what? We're getting another Yeezy 700 V1, which we haven't had in a while, and it's coming in $60 cheaper than it used to at $240. So really, I shouldn't even be complaining because we're getting a good shoe at a much better price point. I think because we haven't had a Yeezy 700 V1 in a while, people are going to be really excited about this sneaker no matter how it looks, and the fact that it's somewhat similar to the Wave Runners are going to make people even more excited. So for that reason, I think the shoe is going to sell. Then on January 27th, we've got the Nike Air Foamposite Pro Volt. This is a bright Volt green Nike Air Foamposite Pro. I mean, until the age of 18, I lived in Baltimore, and so I get that this shoe is like the Baltimore shoe, but I still don't really like it that much. Okay, to be fair, there are some colorways that I like the Coppers and the Galaxies and classic colorways of the Foamposites, but these newer ones that they're dropping, I don't need it. I don't know what the hell that was, but this shoe made me do it. If you want an all Volt green Nike Air Foamposite Pro, this shoe is for you, and you shouldn't have too hard of a time finding it because I definitely think this shoe is gonna sit. Moving on to January 28th, we've got the Air Jordan 4 Topaz. This shoe definitely resembles a friends and family pair of Travis Scott Air Jordan 4s, and for a lot of people, I think that's going to be the appealing part of this shoe. The upper of this shoe comes in a really interesting aged and cracked leather that comes in, of course, a taupe color, which is also accented by some nubuck on the toe. The rest of the shoe comes with some black accents on the laces, midsole, and sock liner of the sneaker, and you've also got a hit of white on the back of the midsole. The other kind of interesting detail about this shoe is the darker brown tongue tag, which features a bright red Jumpman. Whether you care about the fact that this shoe kind of looks like a friends and family Travis Scott 4 or not, I still think it's a nice colorway. I love the fact that they're experimenting with materials in a good way because a lot of their other material experiments kind of suck, and I think this is one of those shoes that is going to be a sleeper hit. From what I can tell, I don't think this shoe is going to be insanely limited. However, I don't think it's going to be an easy shoe to get because of how good it looks. And of course, that means that I think the Air Jordan 4 Topaz will sell out. Continuing on to January 29th, we've got two brand new colorways of the Jaden Smith New Balance Vision Racer. The two colorways of this shoe that are dropping are relatively toned down white and black colorways, especially when you look at the other colorways that have dropped, which are bright yellow and bright blue. The New Balance Vision Racer is a very interesting brand new New Balance silhouette, and it features this insanely thick midsole that's almost like an inch thick. As you could have guessed from the name, this shoe is technically a Jaden Smith silhouette, and as of right now, I think it's exclusive to Jaden. And if for some reason you've really wanted wanted this shoe but haven't been able to grab one, you shouldn't have too hard of a time grabbing the white or the black colorway. Even though the initial colorway of this shoe sold out like a lot of initial colorways of New Balances nowadays, I don't think these colorways are going to be that limited, and just like we saw with the yellow colorway which didn't sell out, I think both of these colorways will end up sitting. Then finishing off January 29th, we've got the Air Jordan 1 High Zoom Comfort PSG. So PSG, the Parisian football club, and Jordan brand have been collaborating over the last couple years, and so far a lot of the collabs that they put out have been really clean. Honestly, the only one that I didn't really like was the Air Jordan 1 PSG that dropped like 2 years ago, which is crazy because the Air Jordan 1's my favorite silhouette. However, it does look like this year they're dropping another PSG Air Jordan 1, and it definitely seems cleaner than the initial release. This PSG 1 seems to come in a primarily nubuck upper that alternates between blacks and light creams. It's also got an inset gray Nike swoosh. But the most obvious detail in the shoe is the pinkish purplish accent around the ankle and on the wings logo. In addition to the colorway of this shoe being different than the first PSG Air Jordan 1, this shoe is also technically a different silhouette. It's not your standard Air Jordan 1, it's the Air Jordan 1 Zoom Comfort, which features a full-length Zoom midsole. Now obviously this silhouette and this colorway will never be as hyped up as something like a classic Air Jordan 1 Chicago or Bread, but it still should be a relatively popular sneaker because it's limited and because it's an Air Jordan 1. And as of right now, I don't know if this shoe is a Paris exclusive or if it will drop in the United States. But the one thing I am pretty sure about is that this shoe will most likely sell out. Then on the last day of the month, January 31st, we've got an Adidas Harden Volume 5 in black. So it seems like this is the second colorway of the Harden Volume 5 to drop, the first colorway being that sort of white multicolor colorway. And just like the initial release, it looks like the shoe is also coming with some multicolor accents. However, instead of coming in a primarily white color, it comes in a black. In my opinion, the Harden Volume 5 might be the best looking James Harden sneaker to drop so far. Maybe that's just my own personal opinion, but I really love the sort of futuristic aesthetic it has. And not only that, the midsole is also filled with boost. I don't know how thick it is because you can't see it from the outside, but I know it's in there and I'm sure it adds to some comfort. But at the end of the day, it is going to be a GR performance basketball sneaker, and for that reason, I think it's going to sit. Also dropping on the 31st, we've got the Adidas Yeezy 700 V2 Cream. This colorway looks just like the 700 V2 Statics, doesn't it? Like almost exactly the same. The name seems to be different, but the shoe itself looks very similar. I guess that's not a bad thing though, because the Statics were one of the most popular 700 V2s, and I know for me at least, I regretted selling my pair of Statics back in 2019, so it's a shoe that I might actually have to pick up because it looks just like the originals. The 700 V2 creams come with a light cream colored upper accented by some light grays and then a white in the midsole. Like the 700 V1s, the 700 V2s are very comfortable sneakers that feature both boost and a very nicely padded upper, and in addition to that, this shoe is also getting a $60 price drop just like the V1s. The 700 V2s have always been a pretty popular sneaker, and I think the fact that they're coming back in a very close to OG colorway is going to get a lot of people excited. So because of that, I think this shoe is going to sell. And then finally rounding off the month, we've got the Air Jordan 1 Low Chinese New Year. So obviously the sneaker is dropping in honor of Chinese New Year, and because of that, it features some Chinese accents around the upper. But I think what will get most people excited about this shoe is the fact that it looks a lot like a Bread Air Jordan 1 Low. In fact, the color blocking of this shoe is almost exactly like a Bread Air Jordan 1 Low. The only real difference is the gold embellishments on the upper and the gold wings logo on the heel. So because of that, I think a lot of people are going to be going for this shoe, whether they care about Chinese New Year or not. They just want a Bread Air Jordan 1 Low. Man, I remember like 3 or 4 years ago when no one cared about lows. You could buy lows at the outlet, and now like the Chicago lows, which were going for $70 before, are now going for almost $1,000. It's crazy to think about. Personally, I think this shoe will be just like last year's Air Jordan 1 Low Chinese New Year's, which were almost impossible to get. I think this shoe will definitely sell out. But that pretty much wraps up Sit or Sell for the second half of January 2021. Now I would love to know your thoughts on all of the shoes that we discussed in today's video, so make sure to let me know in the comment section down below. Once again, huge thank you to the CheckCheck app for sponsoring today's video. If you would like to check out the CheckCheck app for yourself, make sure to click the link in the description below and use my code SETHFOWLER for 1 free legit check. But as always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll see you all in the next one.